Guys, once again, this is Randy Ritchie here with Arab Wrestlers You Should Know in commemoratum of Arab American Heritage Month here in the United States. This is being brought to you by Premier Pro Wrestling, commercial free, so please like and subscribe. And I have to tell you, this guy we're going to talk about today, Alibaba, is the reason why I don't burn out doing these every day. I don't mind doing it because of the stuff that I'm learning about the industry that I love. There's a little term, guys, if you can give me a moment, I'll remember. It's called activity knowledge. Boy, that came to me quicker than I anticipated. When you love something, and a lot of idiots out there and fans claim to love something while these idiots are out there insulting the industry and the fans are out there disrespecting the industry, activity knowledge. After 30-something years, 35 years in the wrestling industry, I'm still garnering activity knowledge because I truly love pro wrestling. Alibaba, real name, Artin Ekizian, born September 28, 1901. The man passed at 80 years old, November 16, 1981, better known with the ring name of Ali Baba. He was an Armenian-American professional wrestler and world heavyweight champion who was active in the early portion of the 20th century. He was born in the Samsun Ottoman Empire during the Armenian genocide. His father and younger brother were murdered, and Ali Baba was sold as a slave to the Arabs. After 4 years of hard labor, he escaped and moved to the United States in 1920 with help from his uncle. He moved to Massachusetts. He began professional wrestling, listen to this, while serving the United States Navy. He became the fleet championship in the middleweight, lightweight, and heavyweight divisions after an international match in Copenhagen. Ekizian was awarded the title of World Champion Navy Wrestler in 1927, was honored at a White House reception by President Calvin Coolidge. He started a professional wrestling career in 1932 after leaving the Navy and moved to Los Angeles in 1936. He defeated the world champion Dick Shakot in front of over 8,000 spectators in Detroit, Michigan. A rematch for the title took place on May 5th at Madison Square Garden. Ekizian won again and was formally declared the world heavyweight champion. He was married to Alice Elizabeth Bagdoin. They had 3 children, and they turned Christian, which is pretty cool. I mean, listen to this American dream and listen to this accomplished guy, and someone from Arabia is going to call me out and say he was not Arab. I don't think so. I think he was Arab. I think that what ended up happening there was he was just a victim of the times and the crimes, and I don't know all the politics that went on over there. But the bottom line is I believe he was Arab by birth, and it probably was something to do with religion more than politics or actual race. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of radical Muslims back then. But anyway, look at the build of this guy for back in that time, man. That's just amazing to me. And this guy's story is amazing to me. I read somewhere, and I cannot find the article now, but I heard that back in the 30s or possibly 40s, this guy was making $5,000 a week. So can you imagine going from that, escaping unbelievable odds, worse odds than anybody I know or heard of, and how big this guy was. There are some matches, or clips of the matches anyway, from Alibaba Wrestling. I've heard the name Alibaba in the past, but I never put 2 and 2 together, you know? And that's why I love doing this. I love learning about this stuff. And here I'm just going to read you a little bit. This is a publication called Ekizian Magazine. I don't know the date. 2014. Legend of Alibaba, the incredible story of Armenian genocide survivor and world wrestling champion. And again, he looks like a very proud guy and somebody I wouldn't want to F with, man. Some months after the long, treacherous deportations began, Mary Ekizian lost her husband Krikor to the horrors of the Armenian genocide. Driven to madness, she would often attempt to flee the caves she and her children hid in to escape detection from the Turkish guards. Every night her son Harry would wrap her long, thick hair tightly around his wrists as they slept in an attempt to keep the mother close by. One night she managed to break free. Harry woke up to find her hair severed from his wrists. After checking on his sister, whom he had hidden safely away, he went on to look for her. But the search to find his mother ultimately proved futile. He never saw her or his sister, who disappeared in the chaos, ever again. The burden of these traumatic experiences would have left anyone wrestling demons for the rest of their lives. Harry Ekizian, however, will go on to wrestle for the World Championship title. This is just amazing to me. The genocide survivor who, as an old man, recalled witnessing Turkish soldiers beheading Armenians like chickens, serendipitously won the title in 1936, the annual commemorative date of the Armenian genocide. Now that's God, don't tell me there's no God, right? And had one of the most successful wrestling careers in U.S. history, setting the precedent for the likes of Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, as one of the first true gimmick wrestlers with his much feared character, Alibaba. And you guys should see the picture of him in the Navy, man. That's something else. He was nicknamed the Terrible Turk, Breakum Neck Harry, the Crushing Kurd, and Ali Ahmed, but ultimately chose Alibaba as his moniker, with a fez on his bullet-shaved bald dome with walrus mustache, with the walrus mustachioed. Former Navy man referred to as the homeliest and fiercest-looking individual in sports, was a success story both on and off the mat, headlining wrestling exhibitions across the country to large crowds and making cameos in several well-known Hollywood films. While his persona helped define an era of professional character wrestling, eventually permeated to pop culture. Do you hear this, guys? Pro wrestling and pop culture. It was only part of who Ekizian was. As a seasoned rancher, doting family man, and steadfast Christian who always credited God with his survival from slave to strongman. Ekizian's agile hands, once used to crush his opponents, became legendary in California's Central Valley as he reinvented himself into a masseur. Isn't that something? Healing the aches and pains of migrant workers and businessmen alike. He looks ferocious in all these characters, but once you knew Alibaba, he was such a kind, gentle man. That's what I remember about him, says Beverly Kill Worrell, Alibaba's daughter-in-law. Her late husband Gary passed away in 2009, and he was Ekizian's adopted son and grew up with the wrestler. He is retired from his career. So when he retired, Alibaba, after that long career, he adopted a son. From Worrell's home in Dinuba, California, just a few miles from the Citrus Ranch, where Alibaba spent the second half of his fruitful life, we talk about the wrestler's tragic past, his inspiring resilience, immense family photos, and old newspaper clippings. Man, that is something else. I was very powerful. Nobody could believe it, Ekizian is quoted, saying in one yellowed old clip on the table, but God gave everyone something. My God, what an example this man was. It wasn't just his strength, but an unflinching tenacity for life through both tragedy and triumph that made him a true survivor. This just blows my mind, guys. I can't believe what I'm reading here, you know? Unbelievable. It sounds just like the Bruno Sammartino story, and they should make a movie about Bruno as well as Alibaba. He worked in the fish market, and my father said he could take a 600-pound barrel of fish and put it on the truck by himself, says Charlie Ekizian, Alibaba's grandson who lives in Florida. Something else, huh? Here's another bit. If anyone was going to be a wrestler, it would have been his father, who was named Harry. Though he was at least 10 years younger than his cousin, he was built like a bear, Charlie recalls. He was a 280-pound mechanic who could pick up a car like a toy, whereas Alibaba, he didn't look even like a wrestler. Huh. But Charlie's father, so that would be Alibaba's son, had no interest in the sport, which is fine. I don't blame him, you know. I can only imagine what it was like in the wrestling industry back then, especially for an immigrant like Ekizian, guys. Unbelievable. In addition to winning the titles of fleet champion, middleweight, heavyweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight champions, he was also named World Champion Navy Wrestler title at a match in Copenhagen and honored at a White House reception, like I said, by Calvin Coolidge. I don't know why they put that in here again. There's a picture on here that I wish I could show you guys, but I can't, of him pouring some crazy test of strength or example of strength, you know. Ekizian, with his menacing look and genuine strongman skills refined under an almost decade-long Navy career, 10 years in the Navy, guys, would have been a promoter's dream. There's no question he was a superb athlete and very powerful man, says this promoter Chapman. That's one of the things promoters would look for, somebody who looked the part. If they could actually fit the part, it would be better. These fellows really put on a show, and they could draw a crowd. Just unbelievable to me that a human like that exists. And I hope you guys think like I think, or maybe can start to think like I think, or maybe fake it till you make it. When I see one human being achieve like this, I believe in my heart, and it sticks in my subconscious, and it keeps me going when things get gray, that I'm a human being and I come from the same race, and I can achieve the same if I believe and keep at it. Okay, guys, once again, this is Arab Wrestlers You Should Know, sponsored by Premier Pro Wrestling with no YouTube commercials. So please be cool, like, subscribe, and look in the description to see how to support Premier Pro Wrestling. Our official merchandise shop is on Pro Wrestling Tees and Patreon. We currently carry the most wrestling match content on Patreon. At the $6 level, you have access to almost 500 matches, and you get updates every week as we tape wrestling every week. Thanks again, guys. Talk tomorrow.